Good morning, students. Good morning to all. And last day we have started the 10th lessons, the environmental economics, and also we have studied about the pollutions and in the air pollutions. Then today just we will go to the next concept. Today just we will study about the water pollutions. So I think you may have studied in your previous classes and in your lower classes it is very easy only, but in these lessons but we will have to study about the relations to the water pollutions and the economic related. When the water are going to polluted, how the environment is going to pollute, and because of that our economics also will be affected. So the introduction of substances or energy into the marine environment result in deleterious effect to the living resources. So hazards to human health, hindrance to the marine activities. So whenever the way of the human activities, how the water is going to pollute, it is considered as a water pollutions. And the types of water pollutions. In what are the types are there in these water pollutions? First, the surface water pollutions and the groundwater pollutions and the microbiological pollutions and oxygen depletion pollutions. So, if you are thinking wherever the water or the symptoms of the waters are there, and if it is polluted by the human activities, it is considered as a water polluted. The surface water pollutions. The surface water pollutions includes the natural water found on the earth's surface, like rivers, lakes, lagoons, and oceans. So hazardous substances coming into the contact with the surface water, dissolving or mixing physically with the water can be called surface water pollutions. Wherever the waters are there on the surface of the earth and it is polluted, it is called surface water pollutions. Next, groundwater pollutions. The groundwater contaminations occurs when man-made products such as gas, oil and chemicals get into the groundwater. And if this water is polluted, that is called groundwater pollutions. Next, microbiological pollutions. In many communicative around the world, people drink untreated water. Sometimes there is natural pollutions caused by microorganisms like viruses and bacteria. This natural pollution causes both aquatic and human illness. So wherever the water is going to polluted by the virus or bacteria, it is considered as a microbiological pollutions. So this is also very harmful affect the aquatic animals and the humans also. Next, oxygen depletion pollutions. When oxygen levels in the water are depleted, relatively harmless aerobic and microorganisms die and anaerobic microorganisms begin into the thrive. So in this water, some of the oxygen level also have to mingled, and if it is splitted by some of the human activities or any of the activities, so this is also one type of considered as a water pollutions. The causes for water pollutions. So normally we know as per our mind or whenever we are going to see in our area, we can get many idea and many causes for the water pollutions. But even though some important reasons are there to polluting the water. First one is discharge of sewage and wastewater. The sewage, garbage and liquid waste of household, agricultural runoff and effluents from factories are discharged into lakes and rivers. Even in our areas, many of the sewages are mingled with the sea or the river and in any of the lake nearby our localities. So this waste contain harmful chemicals and toxins which make the water poisonous for aquatic animals and plants. If this water also is going to for the prosperity, going to make the prosperity of the plants, and if you are eating any of the goods or any of the foods, this is also will be harmfully affect our. Next, the dumping of solid waste. The dumping of solid waste and litters in water bodies causes huge problems. So many of the industries and even in our panchayat and municipalities also will be dumping the solid waste nearby the river or on the river. So this is also one of the reasons to polluting the water. If you are seeing in our area, so we can easily see many of the individual persons also dumping the solid waste in our river or nearby the river. So it is also one of the causes to polluting the water. Next, discharge of industrial waste. So industrial waste contains the pollutants like asbestos, lead, mercury, grease oil and petrochemicals which are extremely harmful to both people and environment. So wherever the industries are located, just if you are going to see, you could understand or you could see. So many of the solid waste and the industrial waste also going to dump in the rivers and the lake only. So this is also will be harmfully affect the human bodies and our environment also. Next, oil spill. So the seawater gets polluted due to oil spilled from ships and tankers while traveling. So on last year also we could hear some of the news. One of the ship was broken and all the oil also will be spilled in this sea. So when it is doing like that, so many of the aquatic animals like a fish and some of the animals also will be harmfully affected. And we also never can to recover this oil from the seas. The spilled oil does not dissolve in water and forms a thick sludge polluting the water. So without any of the heavy machineries to dissolving this oil or recovering this oil, it will not be dissolved with the water. It will always being in the sea water and it will be affected the aquatic animals. Next, acid rain. So acid rain is pollution of the water caused by air pollutions. Already we have studied in this air pollutions. Whenever the air is going to get the polluted, so it will be created the acid rain. And the acid rain, the water of acid rain is also will be harmfully affected the peoples. And when the acidic particles caused by air pollutions in the atmosphere mix with the water vapor and it results in acid rain. Next, the global warming. Due to global warming, there is an increase in water temperatures. As a result, aquatic plants and animals are affected. So, because of the global warming, the earth also will be get very hot, and because of that, the water temperatures also will be increases. So, some of the aquatic animals will be required the normal temperature of the water only. But because of the global warming, if the temperature of water is increased, these aquatic animals will never get the chance to living in the good water and the prescribed waters. Next, eutrophications. So eutrophication is an increased level of nutrients in water bodies. This results in bloom of algae in water. So it also depletes the oxygen in water which negatively affect fish and other aquatic animals and populations. So I think it is very easy, and not only the 7 point. So what are the points? You know the reasons for the water pollutions. You can write. Next, the effects of water pollutions. If the water is polluted, what are the effects will come? Whoever will get the effect by the water pollutions means. First one is death of aquatic animals. The main problem caused by water pollution is that it kills organisms that depend on these water bodies. What are the aquatic animals are depending on the water bodies? All these animals also will going to die. So dead fish, crabs, bats and seagulls, dolphins and many other animals often wind up on the beaches, killed by pollutants in their habitat. Next, disruption of food chains. The pollutions disrupt the natural food chains as well. Pollutants such as lead and cadmium are eaten by tiny animals. So later, these animals are consumed by fish and the food chain continues disrupted at all higher levels. If any of the tortoise is eating some of the chemical items and these some of the fish also will eat the chemical items, and this fish is also taken to the food for the human activities for the human beings, and if you are eating this fish our health also will be affected. So wherever the water polluted animal is going to affected, so after that all the food chains also will be disrupted. Next, diseases. The discharge of untreated and undertreated effluent contributes to severe ecological degradations. So the because of this water pollutions, many of the diseases will affected to only to the humans. Typhoid, malaria, and jaundice, dengue, and viral fever and worm infections also will be affected the human. Next, destruction of ecosystem. The ecosystem can be severely destroyed by water pollutions. So many areas are now being affected by careless human pollutions, and this pollution is coming back to hurt human in many ways. So we have to take some of the remedial measures to control the water pollutions. So what are the remedial measures are there mean? First, the comprehensive water management plan. So the government has to take the comprehensive water management plan. Next, the construction of proper storm drains and setting ponds. So many of the government, local bodies, government have to taking the actions to dumping solid waste. So that for that the government has to take or has to establish the separate place. Next, maintenance of drain line. So if the if there is no proper drain line, so all the sewages will mingled with the air or water bodies only. Next, regulator monitoring of water and the wastewater. Next, stringent actions towards illegal dumping of waste into the water bodies. So if there is no actions for the people to dumping the waste bodies in the water bodies, they will never stop. Next, the noise pollutions. The noise pollution is unwanted or excessive sound that can have deleterious effect on the human health and the environment quality. So because of the unwanted and the excessive sound, if the human and the environment is polluted, it is considered as a noise pollution. So noise pollution is commonly generated by many factors. It also comes from the highway, railway, and the airplane traffic and from outdoor construction activities. So the noise pollution is also classified as three types. One is the atmospheric noise and industrial noise and man-made noise. So atmospheric noise are static is caused by lightning discharges in thunderstorm and other natural electrical disturbances. So because of the thunderstorm and the lightning, some of the humans and some of the plants also will be affected. This is called atmospheric noise. And next one is industrialist noise. The industrial noise refers to noise that is created in the factories. The some of the sound becomes noise, it becomes unwanted. So if you are going to the heavy industries like ship, building, iron and steel and the cement factories have long been associated with the noise. So wherever the noise is coming from the activities of industrialization, it is considered as a industrial noise. Next, man-made noise. The main sources of man-made noise pollution are ships, aircraft, seismic explorations, marine constructions, drilling, and motorboats, and even some of the functions and the electrical items. Next, the causes of noise pollution. The poor urban planning. So, improper urban planning will cause more nuisance among these city travelers. So, poor urban planning means even in these urban areas, some of the peoples or some of the vehicles also will create many noises. It is considered as poor urban planning. Next, sounds from motor vehicles. The sounds from motor vehicles can cause temporarily hearing losses. Now, even if you are seeing in our roads, many of the youngsters boys are using the bike with the high nuisance sound or high polluted sounds. So this is also one of the reasons for the noise pollution. Next, crackers. The enormous crackers are used during some occasions, such as activities created a very louder noise to the level of harming the public. So we all of them are celebrating the many festivals, and nowadays without the crackers, the festival is not thinking. But even though some of the crackers also will be issued the many noise polluted, and because of the crackers the air also will be polluted. So sometimes they may even cause deafness to children and aged people. And because of that some of the animals and the birds also will be harmfully affected. So as per one of the report, many of the birds also dying with the sound of crackers. Next, the factory machineries. The industrial noise caused by continuous operations of mills, machines, and pneumatic drills in bearable nuisance to the workers. So if you are going to any of the industrials or any of the construction site, so we could hear the unwanted the noise. Okay, then what are the effects will come because of the noise pollution means? First one is hearing loss. So the chronic exposure to noise may cause noise induced hearing loss. So older people are exposed to significant occupational noise and thereby reduced their hearing sensitivity. So as we know, so the human also has able to hearing some of the particular noise only. But if the aged peoples or some of the peoples also will be lost their hearing capacity because of the noise pollutions. Next, damage psychological and physiological health. So unwanted noise can damage the physiological and psychological health. For example, annoyance and aggregations, hypertensions and high stress levels. So if you are living in nearby the railway stations and in the railway track, so always we can hear some of the railway sound. So because of that our psychological or mental also will be affected. Next, detrimental effect on animals and aquatic life. So noise can have a detrimental effect on animals, increasing the risk of death. Because some of the pet animals like a cat and some of the little dog also cannot able to bearing the more noises. Mostly it will never bearing the sounds of crackers. So many of the bats and animals also will get crazy and it will be affect on the noise pollution. Next, the effect on wildlife and aquatic animals. So it creates hormone imbalances, chronic stress, panic, and escape behavior and injuries. So, what are the remedial measures are there to control the noise pollution? Mean the use of noise barriers. So the peoples must be use the noise barriers wherever we are going to the nearby the industrials and the outdoor of our home. So we must using the noise barriers and the traffic control. So if we are having the good traffic control, so we can protect from the traffic sound and the regulating times for heavy vehicles. Nowadays, all the times are available to moving or transferring one place to another one of the place in front of the or in center of the city. So this is also one of the causes. But if you are allotting some of the regular time to use the heavy vehicles, it will improve. Next, regulations of loudspeakers. So the loudspeakers also have to be regulated. Next, the land pollutions. So the land pollution is defined as the degradation of land because of the disposal of waste on the land. In any of the way, any of the land is polluted, that is called land pollutions. So the types of land pollutions, in whichever ways the lands are going to polluted mean. First one of is the solid waste. The solid waste includes all kinds of rubbish like paper, plastic containers, bottles, cans, food used cause broken electronic goods, municipal waste and hospital waste. So because of these all type of the solid waste, some of the earth is or land is going to polluted, that is considered as a solid waste. Next, the pesticides and fertilizers. So many farming activities engage in the applications of fertilizers, pesticides and insecticides for higher crop yield with polluted land. Nowadays, many of the farmers, even in the urban and the rural side, farmers also used many of the chemical fertilizers and the pesticides and many the insecticides. So when we are using continuously on the land will lose their prosperity and the productivity also. And not only that, whatever crops are going to cultivate in that land, it also will become as a poisonous. Next, deforestations. The humans depends on trees for many things, including life. So trees absorb carbon dioxide from the air and release oxygen, which is needed for life. The forest helps the replenish soils and help retain nutrients being the washed away. Deforestation is led to land pollutions. So if the deforestations in many ways, the deforestations are held in our nations. But whenever the deforestations are being happened, so it also will be created the land pollutions. Okay students, I think it's enough. So if you have any doubt in these pollutions, the land pollutions, the air pollutions and water pollutions, you can ask me. And I'm thinking it is very easiest lessons. If you are reading yourself, you could understand. So some of the word only you may not have understand, but if you have any doubt, please ask me. Thank you.